For years in the rural settings of Zambia, the principal source of revenue has generally been agriculture production. It is the heartbeat of the nation, the pivot from where stems the country's food security. At the helm of it is the small-scale farmer. With hardly any control over his production, the farmer struggles to keep up with the demands of the future. Severe challenges in accessing inputs and services farmers need, as well as reliable commercial markets for their outputs, have kept small-scale farmers' productivity way below their potential. In addition, frequent droughts in recent years have further compounded the problem. It is a fragile existence. The USAID-funded Production, Finance and Technology Project, or USAID Profit as it's known, is a $22 million US private sector development project implemented by CLUSA in partnership with Cardinal Emerging Markets, Land O'Lakes and NIRAS. Profit, which began in 2005, was designed with the goal of facilitating private sector solutions to a key challenge facing rural small-scale farmers in Zambia, achieving sustainable agriculture development.
One of the most difficult jobs we do, the most difficult job we do, is trying to change the minds of people. That's more difficult than anything, to change people's minds. It's not only the minds of the farmers. Those are not the only people we're trying to change the minds of. We're trying to change the minds of people in business. We're trying to change the minds of people in government. We're trying to change the minds of people working in extension. And we're trying to change the minds of people working in the donor system. And we have to change all the minds at the same time. Because if you change someone's mind alone, but everyone else's mind is not in the same way, then you get nothing. That mind change will disappear. So our mindset changing is not only the farmer, it's everybody involved in the system, that there is another way.
And that way is the Profit Agent model. Introduced in 2005, the model is designed to be a private sector-led initiative. It is a broader focused and more cohesive approach to small-scale farming. In short, small-scale farming as a business, which integrates elements that take a holistic approach to bringing the idea of small-scale farming as a business to life.
We've been looking around for donors, other cooperating partners, to see how we can improve agricultural marketing as a driver for improved productivity, especially for our small-scale farmers. And this is how, I think, around 2006, a project in the name of USAID Profit came in. Their interest then was to see how they could catalyze the agricultural marketing as a driver for agriculture development in Zambia.
We originally were looking at our main business as being the commercial sector. And then Profit came in and said, look, why don't you consider the small-scale sector as well? And we felt that out of corporate responsibility issues, we felt that, well, it would be a good idea. But at the backs of our minds, we were in it for profit and sustainability. So we grudgingly, at first, decided to partner in with Profit. And we found out the needs, the major needs amongst the small-scale farmers as being the technical side, which we then took up to try and train the farmers, and then the business side, which Profit decided to take up. So we've grouped the small-scale farmers into catchment areas or commercially viable areas where we've requested them to actually pick amongst themselves a person who would represent them, who we then, together with Profit, have been training over the years in proper business practice and on the technical side.
It is this link that created mutually beneficial, sustainable business relationships between the two key players, the private sector service providers and the small-scale rural farmers, that was absent in previous agriculture development models in Zambia. The profit model addresses this shortcoming simply by introducing a new element to the equation, the agent. Also known as an in-community service provider, the agent, who is a trusted member of the community, is a functional piece that provides the cohesion between the community and the providers of goods and services, knowledge, output markets and information. Here is an example of how it works. First, Profit goes into a particular rural community and conducts a market scan, in which they facilitate the farmers to analyze and understand the specific reasons behind their poor agricultural yields. Next, Profit approaches a private sector service provider best suited to cater to these farmers' needs. They share with them the new agent model approach idea and then offer them financial and technical support as a way of buying down initial business risk. Once the service provider has bought into the concept, Profit facilitates a meeting with the rural farming community. The service provider shares with the farmers knowledge and information related to products and services that they offer in order to increase the agricultural productivity.
Once the meeting is organized between the two small-scale farmers and the private sector, and after the promotion and they've sold what they've explained what they're able to offer, then the next question is, how do we as the small-scale farmers benefit from your service? And because of that now, that's when the agent now comes in. So the agent is going to be selected by the community, and after being selected, then the private sector or the input supplier will train these people into the product knowledge on how to use those products and services that are being offered. And apart from that, once these people are trained, they'll act as day-to-day agents of this particular input supplier. And because of that, what it tells now, they keep on creating live relationship within these particular communities. And because of the live relationship that they're creating, the image of this particular firm is felt within those particular community. And that has come into being because the farmers now will start trusting these particular agents, and because of the trust or the social capital that has been built around those particular agents, the farmers now will open up and do business to them, and ultimately the agent will also make themselves to avail themselves, and they'll be viewed as solution providers.
Once this new agent model begins to bear fruit for all the players involved, Profit slowly withdraws, leaving behind thriving, profitable, and sustainable business relationships. The evolution of the Profit agent model has been a great success. In response to the varied needs of small-scale rural farmers, the initial all-purpose in-community agent has evolved into 4 distinct variations. The input agent. The input agent is a link between the community and the private sector input and output companies, as well as the Ministry of Agriculture and Cooperatives, MACO. The input agent coordinates all the activities between the community and the private companies, provides extension services to the farmers throughout the year, i.e. knowledge, skills, change of attitude, thus creating continual live relationships between the farmers and the private companies. Aggregates farmers' demands for agriculture inputs such as seed, herbicides and pesticides on behalf of the community, thus enabling the community to purchase these products on a prepaid or cash-on-delivery basis. Aggregates farmers' outputs in order to create a viable and attractive market, as well as ensure competitive pricing. The community livestock worker. The community livestock worker, CLW, is a link between the community and the private vet. The CLW aggregates demand for preventive animal services on behalf of the community and is paid a commission for his services. The private vet then provides services to the community on a prepaid basis. The CAOW is trained by the vet and then in turn provides the same knowledge to the small-scale cattle farmers. In the community, the CAOW and the private vet interact with government veterinary officers. The dairy component within the Profit project was set up to work along the same philosophy as the overall project, which is to use the private sector players to drive competitiveness.
Zambian dairy farmers, the smallholder commercial dairy farmers, typically get in the region of 5 to 8 litres per cow per day. What we're trying to do on the dairy component is to work with the farmers through the private sector to increase those yields. The key constraints on low milk yield would be poor feeding and poor health management. If we can get healthier cows which are fed better, we should get more milk out of those animals. We are working with the vets on the health issues, and we're working with the feed companies on the feeding. Also, we're beginning to work on the forage, which is grass or forage preservation, which is a key component to getting more milk out of your dairy cows. The other area that we're working very keenly on is this whole area of milk collection. Efficient milk collection gives the farmer more confidence that his milk will be sold every day. The farmer who knows that every day the milk lorry is going to come and collect his milk is going to be far happier to produce more milk each day to sell into the marketplace. That is a very important drive to increase milk production. So a combination of those three key areas, feeding the animal, the health of the animal, and collecting the milk that's produced from those healthier, better fed animals, are the areas that we're working on.
The sprayer service provider. The sprayer service provider, SSP, is a resident of the community he or she services. The SSP is hired by farmers to spray their fields at a mutually agreed fee. To maintain the industry standard and safe use of chemicals, the sprayer service providers are trained and certified by CropLife Zambia. The SSP also provides technical information on agrochemicals and their safe application. With the introduction of the profit agent model, private companies have come to appreciate the importance of investing in the small-scale farmer, knowing that the investment will pay off in the long run. One such invaluable investment is training. In order to provide the small-scale farmer with the necessary skills to improve his output, profit partner companies have made provision to train their sales staff in products and services essential for turning small-scale farming into a profitable business.
This workshop has been organized by CropLife Zambia with the financial support from USAID Profit and CropLife International. So I'm here to facilitate and to oversee, to give assistance to the trainer who has come from Namibia, that's Heyman. This workshop is about equipping the companies or representatives of the companies to go out there and train service providers who are using pesticides to use them responsibly.
The tillage service provider. Because the majority of rural farmers still predominantly till their land by hand, the speed at which they perform and the amount of land they can cultivate is limited by the number of people working on it. And since hiring additional labor is costly, most rural farmers have over the years simply failed to graduate from subsistence farming. That is, until the introduction of the tillage service provider, TSP. There are two types of tillage service providers, the mechanized and the ox-drawn. The TSP is hired by farmers to till their fields at a mutually agreed-on nominal fee. The TSP also provides additional technical information on innovations such as conservation farming. Farming as a business is not just about money, but about how things are put together for sustainability. The profit agent model is truly making a difference. It's providing practical solutions to the problems facing the small-scale farmers in all areas of their agriculture development.
Another part of our program was a grant fund in which we had funding available to different organizations, to local organizations that had innovative ideas in which they could impact the lives of small-scale farmers.
This grant fund was further broken down into two categories. One, short-term innovative grants in which payments were made based on targets and deliverables. Examples of the recipients of these were AfriConnect, VetLab, Savannah.com, Kalahari Oils, Zambezi Gold Forest Fruits, Mobile Transactions Zambia Limited, and Lloyd's Financials.
As mobile transactions, we're using the cellular providers as an open network technology through our innovative products and solutions to bring about a transformation where this dependence on cash is not required, and most importantly, the high costs associated with it can be brought down. But one of our key focus areas is, in one of the ways we try to differentiate ourselves from, let's say, a traditional bank or maybe a cell phone banking platform, is we truly believe in the transformational nature of our product, that if we can go down to the grassroots, we can work with rural communities, we can work with rural farmers, we can integrate into the bigger companies that make payments to them or receive payments from them, that the direct benefit can be to the rural farmer on the ground. However, that cannot be in isolation, which is why we work with CFU, like you've seen today, and we integrate into their businesses. We provide them innovative products like the voucher system so that they can get buy-in and they can have direct access and improved access to these rural farmers.
At some point, I think in 2008, we met up with Profit and discussed the possibility of them looking at some of the things that we're doing. And one of those involved a unit that we had set up called Carbon Finance Unit within Lloyd's Financials Limited. Now, when one looked at the global carbon market, we realized that there was an opportunity to scale up our carbon exchange unit into a full-fledged exchange, a carbon exchange. The impact of the activity of a villager, a household level, to impact on the prevention and preservation of the environment. Among the key programs and projects, for me, conservation farming is tops because it immediately addresses the emissions, carbon dioxide emissions into the atmosphere. And to the extent that that's being done, you're getting a more secure environment and a safer future than you actually have right now.
2. Long-term sub-agreements that went for more than a year and in which the recipients were required to submit financial reports on a monthly basis. The recipients of these were Conservation Farming Unit, Zambia National Farmers Union, Agribusiness Forum, Land O'Lakes Dairy, Naira's Dairy, African Trade Insurance, and Zambia Agriculture Commodities Exchange, ZAMES.
One of the challenges that producers or farmers face or continue to face is the linkage to the commercial market. And a commodities exchange was seen as one such modern avenue through which that could be enhanced. We got our initial financial and technical support from Profit. So Profit was involved with us from the initial stages, from setup, I would say. This is what we've been engaging the smallholder farmer with, to say to them that, look, the difference between you and, say, a commercial farmer is how you handle the crop. As a community, collectively, you can now start storing what you've cleaned up, what you've gathered together into a certified warehouse. So that now it's much easier for you now to go to a ZAMES broker and say, we've got X economic quantity, can you place it on the exchange for us? So these are some of the steps that we're taking. But I think season by season, we are helping them, move from one step or level to another.
Once on the fringes of Zambia's economic development, today a new society of small-scale farmers is emerging. Empowered with productivity and armed with the knowledge and desire to be part of a bigger entity in the bigger picture of the society. The profit model is a new symbol of the determination of the people to embrace change, fighting poverty, restoring dignity. The delight that abounds everywhere in rural communities is testimony to the positive impact the profit model has had on the small-scale farmer. The concept of small-scale farming has taken on a whole new dimension, not just among the private sector and donor community, but more importantly among the small-scale farmers themselves. The benefits the farmer is reaping are not just restricted to better quality and quantity outputs, but also a whole new crop of buyers who now view them as a business. Buyers that offer them value for their output.
Okay, tunaye sako mwe, tunaye sako maningi lesa anatutandizako jambiri. Twakalima buyo, twakajana masaka asika uma 350 bags. Ndakaulisha akujana mali mabotubotu.
Generally, if I were to be asked if at all profit has impacted in any way on agriculture development in Zambia, my answer would be a very affirmative yes, because one, they have actually helped to change the mindset of the small and emergent farmer. And we have also seen that working in a very catalytic manner, being there but without being involved, allowing the right players to be in place, can actually start helping develop business relationship between smallholder producers and the private sector or industry players.
Zambia and the small-scale farmer can now look to the future with a greater sense of purpose and determination, embracing the concept of farming as a sustainable source of revenue, as a business.
And that's what we try to show farmers, that they can do marvelous things with what they have. Not what they don't have, because they don't have that. But with what they've got, we can change, we can help them change their standard of living. We can help them develop themselves. And you know the sense of pride that comes from that, the sense of willingness to continue growing, that makes a difference. That's what sustainable development is all about, is making those communities say, yes, we can do this. We didn't have this knowledge and information and confidence before, but we can do it now. We've got the relationships with the firms, we have the power, we can negotiate, we have the confidence to do all these things. That's true development. And that's what we're trying to do. We're not just growing people, throwing money, looking at increasing resource envelope. No, we're talking about change from within. And if that change from within takes place, we've done the job.
The success of the USAID-funded Profit Project Agent model is now ever more apparent right across Zambia. To date, the service providers are working with over 3,600 agents who are servicing more than 200,000 small-scale farmers, of which 29% are women. The value of products and services generated through the agent model is worth over $8 million United States dollars. Out of this, 10% has gone to the agents in form of commissions. The number of agents is a direct reflection of the number of jobs that have been created in the rural areas, and hence a strong basis for sustainability. The healing of the past eras has begun in earnest. Thanks to this well-thought-out self-sustainable concept, the small-scale farmers will continue to grow their business from strength to strength. They'll continue to improve their productivity and income, and their new circle of confidence will continue to sustain them as a commercial entity for many years to come.